After such a hot discussion, now I came up with blue color. I think blue color. I know that blue color calm people down, so it helps, right? And I must say that always I'm with blue. So all my colleagues, believe me, I'm blue architect, but it's not true. I am rated blue, and I am always blue. My wife is always in red. And everybody thinks I'm wearing the same thing all the time, but it's not true. Same thing is blue, and I have more than 110 t-shirts, so always I was clean. I brought 10 t-shirts and 100 socks, exactly the same. And my daughter, our daughter is yellow. So because we decided to share everything into yellow. And then we got our son. We are supposed to make our son into green, but my daughter didn't like to, we were supposed to make him into yellow, but my daughter didn't like to lose her color. So my daughter made her brother into green. So we got the 4 primary colors. By the way, I think I have to ask the translator to make it funny translation, because sometimes translation doesn't go well. I had a problem in Turkey. Half of the audience was laughing, and half of the audience was very quiet. So when I raise my hand, I want you to laugh, even if you don't understand it. The reason why I started my presentation from my family is that our design starts from our family. We don't have much time, so just we jump into the presentation. This is old kindergarten, which existed before our construction. And we went to see the building, and we found out the building is quite nasty, but it's quite efficient. We liked it. And in these days, Japanese kindergarten got air-conditioned corridor to reach each classroom. But because this kindergarten was so old and built right after World War II, now all corridors were external, and it's not organized, and even principal didn't have his principal's room. We liked it because he kept walking into each classroom, and I could hear where he is, because always the classroom with him was yelling. We could hear the yelling. We liked it, so we tried to keep that atmosphere. And there are big trees, and so we made this very simple building. And by the way, I have to tell you that there is 640 children in one building, and there are 3 big trees. We kept it. And we used to have several buildings on the three edge. And the principal used to walk in back and forth. And we wanted to keep him walking around all day long. So we made a circle so he doesn't know when he should end. I think it's working quite well. And also, we are observing our children. You know that if you're parents, you know that the kids love to make circles, something. And if I bring my children, they love making circles around the table. So we made a circle. We know that it works. And it's not easy to keep this kind of tree. This is 30-meter tree. And what we had to do is excavate and just making research on the ground with echo kind of device to see the internal organ, to find out where roots are, and we put the foundation where we don't cut the tree, because tree is a very important part of the atmosphere. Then eventually you got this, and some British architects said, well, it's illegal to do this in Great Britain because it's quite dangerous. Yes, it looks dangerous, but when we were designing this, the situation was much more dangerous, because principal said we don't want any handrail on the rooftop. I said, it's impossible. He said, how about having a net sticking out from the edge of the roof so we can catch children falling off? You're supposed to laugh. Did you translate? I said it's impossible, but we went, and he said you have to go to planning application department. So we went there, and we are told you are insane. So we had to come back to the kindergarten. I said we were told insane, but he said go back again. And then there's a guy, really having a strange face, having trouble, because actually he was from this kindergarten, and the principal called him. But then funny thing is we could keep the idea around the tree. We were supposed to have a handrail, but they called this handrail. Of course, it's quite unusual. And you know that the kids love to jump down into the net. And it's quite simple that the kids, they don't care the handrail at all. And you get more kids, something get more than 40 kids. And the kids love the tree. And you can see that this boy is eating the tree. And now that you can see that very elegant handrail. And actually, we tried to convince him that we need a handrail, but he kept saying, just we need net, but we can't do that. So we made a few mock-ups. And this is the lightest handrail we could get with 1 kilonewton per meter. But it was shaky. So we made another one, so we tried to convince him just that we need this strength because it's shaky. He said, I like the shaky one. So we had to end up with this shaky handrail. But it's illegal, it's still legal. But it's nice to see this handrail from courtyard. It's a monkey in the zoo. And it's feeding time. And they have field and they have agricultural grass. And you may find the ceiling height is quite unusual because just little more than 2 meters. And you should know that the Japanese are much smaller, so it may not be enough for Russians. It's quite enough for Japanese. But yet, it didn't meet the governmental standard for kindergarten. But we really needed to make it low because we needed to see everything going onto the roof, underneath the roof, same time. If the roof is too high, you see on this only a ceiling. So, and we kept that idea, and also principal insisted the roof has to be low. And also, then local government complained, I can't give you governmental fund. But the principal said, no, I don't need it. I have money, so I do whatever I want. So we built this, and then our local government kept accusing us because we are not following their standard. Then OECD came. I'm going to select this building as one of the best school building in the world. And then ministry came. Minister gave a principal a prize. And then local government changed attitude completely. And then we got the prize. And then finally, my wife and a partner was appointed as a person who set up the new standard for the kindergarten in Japan. Now we're saying, we don't need ceiling height 3 meters, just we can make it as low as possible. Maybe we should make use of the rooftop. So we can do whatever we want. We are quite happy. OECD did quite a good thing. There are so many things I should talk about, but we have only 20 minutes. Again, it's a gargoyle to correct leaves. And this is lake washing place. And usually you have this just wall with water tap popping out. It didn't like them. So we buried, how can I say, wash basin, how do you call it? There's a drainage underneath, and we planted water tap, just like green growing from the ground. And they liked it. We made variations, and you can see that they're enjoying it. This boy is not washing his boots, he's putting water into the boots. I like this time lag between English and Russian. So this is a very important picture. And this building looks quite low-tech, but it's quite high-tech building. First of all, there is no wall between classrooms. And this made very big advantage onto the education of this kindergarten. He thinks white noise is very important. You know, even in this room, you can make conversations. You know, I can see people are making conversation while I'm doing lecture. You know, that kind of capability is very important. So he decided to no wall between classrooms. And then now just some researchers say when you make a very an acoustic insulated room for the children feel really uncomfortable. And children are supposed to be able to shut out the white noise where they don't need it. You know that the children tend to sleep well in noisy place. And I think you know that you used to enjoy sleeping in the classroom in university. Exactly the same thing. So, and it's working extremely well. And also, there is no boundary between outside and inside. Actually, there are sliding doors. It's double glazed. It's a quite well seated window, but still we can open it. 2/3 of each year, they keep the window open. And then some researchers found out there is no humiliation or there is no outcast. These were two big problems in the schools all over the world. And it doesn't happen anymore. So now some professors are making researches. And this is how they divide classrooms, and they were supposed to help the teacher. And they change room configuration every month, and they don't help. It's not humiliation, they're allowed to do that. And this is Christmas time, so you know, each classroom configuration represents the creativity of each teacher. So each classroom is different. It's quite flexible, and this is wash basin. And then these days, Japanese kids are playing with Nintendo or Game Boy. It's kind of stupid, you know. When we get managed 4 or 5 children around, always they have Game Boy and Nintendo. They are not talking to each other. So we made a kind of well so that they can talk to each other. It's working quite well, and it's good for Christmas. And in the classroom, we find 3 popping through the monkey, and there's always fishing the boy near on the ground floor. Okay. And the skylight actually at least each classroom has at least one skylight. And at the time of Christmas, Santa Claus brings a present down through this skylight. And there's a bird to lean the ladder. But once we had a problem, this one got a really good-looking Santa Claus, and Santa Claus was jammed between the frames, so we couldn't get him out. So from next year, we decided to stick with Japanese Santa Claus. And this is light bulb. It's very simple, but yet it's still controlled by computer at the center. And that is the main topic. You know, these days we have very quite advanced technology, but yet we still can enjoy the nostalgic feature. And it's exactly the same as this one. You know, my daughter and son makes drawing with this and send an email to me. They don't need to understand the program, but they are capable of using it. So technology is ready for use for everybody, but it exists like air. really different from last century. We call it nostalgic future. Technology is ready for nostalgic future, but yet it's not past. It's idealistic. And we are using light bulb, but it's dimmed, so we use very little light, and so it's controlled by computer center. And it's quite simple. There's the green on the middle, and you can see that the big field on top. And these are not the beautiful glass. Just it's just green, but they just like a field in a mountain. So just the green tends to grow first. So principal went to buy a lawnmower, grass cutting machine, but he came back with a pony. So he's letting pony to eat green. And this is showing how many games are happening on top of the roof. These days we are talking about playing tools, but principal said, playing tools are not good because playing tools are telling them what they should do. There are protocols. You are not allowed to go through the wrong direction. So we stick with just only architectural feature. Chimneys and the things, and the researcher found out there are 8 times more games than normal kindergarten. And this is a movement of a boy, 7th of September, 10 past 9 to 30 past 9. We should remember this is 200 meters. And so this boy made 6 kilometers in the morning. It's quite unusual. The researcher said the average of the normal kids in normal kindergarten is 500 meters. This kid made 6 kilometers, and the normal kid in this kindergarten makes at least 4 kilometers. So big architecture makes big difference. It's automatic this one. It happens every morning.
なんでこんなに僕が走るかっていうとね、子供ってね、こういうふうに行き止まりのないところを僕が走るのが大好きなんですよね。このやるとね、もう内側に向かってすり鉢状に傾けていくんですね。そうすると何がいいかっていうと、ほら、速く走ってもらうと感じがしないでしょ。さっきとみたいな感じで、なんか走りたくなるんですよ、子供たちはね、それを感じますよね。だから得しなさいって言わないんだけど、走りたくなる。
We are here on the CNN program. I think one thing I'm not happy about. They're using Chinese music. Still they think Japanese are part of China. That's supposed to be a joke, but I'm just going back. And I'm just gonna finish my presentation very quickly. And we asked to one more small building right next to it, an English classroom, and also waiting room for the school buses. And there's a big tree on the property, and we decided to put the building around the tree. And the building is only 5 meters tall, but we put 7 floors. And they can see that they don't almost see the building. And the floor is very thin. You can see that it's not just for the kids. Ceiling height is only 1.2 meters. And the teachers are allowed to stand just on the middle. So everything is row ceiling. And you can see that everything is very small element. Everything is built like a furniture. So just every element of the building is much seen as the tree branch. So tree is the dominant. The architecture is the subsidiary. Belongs to the tree. And when we design these kind of things, you must know that it's quite dangerous because there are bumps. So we decided to put our kids. Whenever we design these kind of things, we put our kids because we know that our daughter and son got a very strong scar. And you can see that we put them, and he made a bruise just on the corner, and then now we know that this area is dangerous. And she's climbing the trees, so that we had to put the ropes so that we can prevent the kids to climbing over the branch. Then we put the yellow kids from the kindergarten. And you can see many things going on. It's a traffic jam happening in the building. Sorry, we don't have much time, so just we have to run through. There are so many things we want to talk about. And you should know that kids love to touch the ceiling because they are not allowed to touch the ceiling in daily life. But in this building, they can touch it, and they feel like they are touching the sky. That kind of just simple feeling is very important for them. And this is a light skin, and we are trying to imitate the feeling of how the firefly in Japan. Firefly is a kind of representation of summer in Japan. And there's another one, just it's a plane. This artist wove the net, spider net, where kids can enjoy. And she used to have the net like this. So, but we are told to design new building with white box. But we decided not to do that. And the building was decided to build in the natural forest. So we are not allowed to do that. So we tried to get the special permission. So we made a small model, just like this. This is the shape of my finger. And this is only 4 centimeters long. And they said, okay, it's 100% made out of wood. It's very cute. So they liked it. But they didn't know that this is 1 to 1,000 scale. This is because of Blue Mosque. So, and we got the reference from Japanese old temple. This structure is 1,000 years old, still standing. So we made structure like this, and we are not using any metal. And then now it's quite big in the mainstream environment. We really got shocked. But it's too late. And it's traditional Japanese method of using stuff. And this project taught me many things, it was kind of nice marriage between the latest technology and the Japanese craftsmanship. And you can see that inside like this. And the great thing about this building is that, people can choose the location. The great thing about this artwork of video is that the kids can choose whatever they want. This net is not telling them what they should do, but they learn how to enjoy it. I love this picture. You like this? Threshold, going through threshold. And this is how parents wait around. And the father is very tired. And you can see that the girl got injured, and instead of putting the handle around, we decided to put first aid kit on the corner of this room. Always we have to call from the museum, it is okay, but it's okay. And this is my son and my wife. He's quite looking happy, quite happy. He's cute, that's it. And this is one more I should tell. We can't avoid this. And you can see that this is a tsunami we hit us about 1 year ago. And this is 20 deep tsunami, taller than this building, wiping everything out. You can see a car on the top. And this is a promenade leading you to the temple on the top. And Japanese government wanted to chop all this down to make it fuel, but local didn't like that idea because these trees were planted about 350 years ago by ancestors. They knew that the tsunami is coming again. And the old temple was built by the trees soaked by seawater, just like this 350 years ago. So we decided to do the same thing as 350 years ago. And these are trees. And it looks small, but this is more than 30, I think it's 35 to 40 meter tall. It's big trees. And we chopped all these. And this is woodpecker's nest. And this is the size of the column. And this is me, and we are using old joinery so that the building can stand more than 300 years. If we use steel, the building can stand only 100 to 200 years because the wood shrinks. But if you use traditional method, it can use it 300 years. So the building can tell kids, you have to learn to this building. This building is built where you can escape tsunami. That is what happened, exactly happened in that area with the temple. The religious people belong to the temple didn't die. Even single kid didn't die because they knew that tsunami is coming. And monk kept telling speech and how to put that? Priest kept telling that you have to escape when the earthquake happens. So it's a kind of storyteller for next 300 years. So it's not just about safety, and it's about history and also future for the kids. And just the local really enjoy this building, and because it's a part of their religious background. So when we took the last structure, they placed a very religious symbol, and the monk, and we made a ceremony and cracking sake barrel and throwing rice cake. So it actually, we should know that this is based on donation by UNICEF. Not UNICEF, yes. But we don't have much to talk about. But this is a facility for the children suffering cancer. Just we are trying to provide houses for the kids who are suffering cancer because they can't see the family. And in the middle we have a hospital, but you don't see the hospital from outside. It's looking like a village where they can stay with family. Now just we are starting this project on site. Everything is based on the donation. We raised about $7 million. Now just we are coming to the end. This is a car we are driving. It's a very simple car, but we learned quite a lot from this car. It's not exactly the most beautiful car, but the great thing about this car is this car was in production for 50 years. And these days, Japanese company change design every 2 years, sometimes 1 year. And if you are designing a car, you can do that. But the architecture is different. You know, architecture design has to stand at least 50 years, more than 200 years. So we can design things for the fashion. We have to look at the future, maybe 300 years later or 200 years later. So we try to understand the reason why this design stood for 50 years. And I found out, this is a car, how can I say, where people can have a joy with it. You can see that you can put many people in, you can put many things in, you can put a family in. Thank you very much. By the way, I know that we need to have a program.